Oh, it's the Monday morning mailbag. It's the Monday morning mailbag. It's the Monday morning mailbag. Welcome back, citizens of the Comic Book Dojo. JT McRoberts here with you once again, and it's time to go through the Monday morning mailbag. Yay! Or maybe just the Monday mailbag, though this video will be released on Monday morning, which is today at the time of you watching this video. It is definitely Monday right now. Aren't you enjoying your Monday so far? Well, I hope so, because we're going to do something I've wanted to do for a while, but I just haven't had quite enough feedback on the channel from the viewers. So that was one of the good things about taking a little hiatus over the past few months. While we remembered my good friend Luke, he rests in peace. It gave me the chance to watch the comments coming in on YouTube and various other social media sites. So now we finally have enough feedback that we can compile it all for you here. So without too much ado, we'll get started. But oh yeah, I wanted to show you, I've got a nice little stack of indie books sitting here next to me. And I did want to say that I purchased all of these off the shelf or through various Kickstarters. None were donated to the channel, so I have no intention of reviewing any of them. Obviously this came off the shelf. I mean, it's Icon and Rocket, but I still kind of consider Milestone an indie book, even though they're completely supported and a part of DC at this point. But to me it still feels kind of indie. But I did want to put out an invitation, extend an open invitation, if you will, to the Kumite, the Comic Kumite. That's right. Reach out to me at comicjutsu@gmail.com if you want your book reviewed, and I will tell you how you can send me a copy, because if you do send me a copy, I will review it for you. I will create some media for you. Mind you, I'm not going to let it dominate the channel unless that's something that suddenly magically draws. But the cold reality of it is that no one wants to watch videos or hear any kind of media other than the creators and maybe their individual following. No one wants to hear reviews of indie books. They just do not draw. They would much rather see a video about somebody complaining about, you know, whatever's being released from one of the big companies on the shelves. But before I digress, let's dive into the Monday morning mailbag. Follow with me, if you will. Okay, on our Tomb of Dracula Gene Colan tribute, Options 3000 says, I enjoyed this very much and look forward to more of these. I never cease to be amazed every time I pick up a work with his name attached. Even in later years with eyesight issues, he could still draw some amazing stuff. Yes, he could. And of course, Options 3000, what's up, buddy? It's actually one of my friends. He is talking about Gene Colan, the late great. That particular video is an archival video that was created during my run at Mutantville, when we were just focusing on the group projects there. This was one of the individual videos I created as just a little tribute to share some of my thoughts about Gene Colan's work, and also shared a little bit of my stories of when we got to meet him and talk to him at the Heroes Convention many years ago, which led to him doing a piece of work for us, which showed up in C for Chaos, which was really cool. And it's one of my most treasured possessions. But I talk about that on the video, so if you want to know more about that, feel free to check it out. Okay, on our Joe Bob Briggs Talks the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1974 and Slashers Super Secret Movie Rules video, which is where I uploaded segments to the Super Secret Movie Rules series. Say that 3 times fast. Over Halloween, because number one, because I haven't seen it uploaded anywhere else, and unless you watched it at the time in which it aired, you probably have not seen it since then. So I put it on YouTube for you. That's not something I'm proud of doing. I don't really like using someone else's IP or copyrighted material and putting it up, but I consider this archival, so I put it up in little pieces is how I justify it, I guess. If I get a takedown notice, I'll just take them down. It's no big deal. My friend Isaac says, yeah, the grandpa was truly bizarre, agreeing with what Joe Bob Briggs had to say in that particular clip. And if you're a fan of Joe Bob and Darcy the Mail Girl, which I certainly am, give them a shout out. So, what's up? The drive-in will never die. Rolling right along, Jeremy Horn 6244 comments on our John Carpenter Shoots on Halloween 1978 sequels and remakes video, and he says, John is right, there is no more story, and frankly the franchise is a rancid joke bar Halloween 3. Does that mean not including Halloween 3? Really? You know, I've had fun with pretty much all of the Halloween movies. I mean, there are only one or two entries that I just ignore their existence, like Resurrection. I'm just not a fan of it. And I understand there are people that hate the Rob Zombie run, but I just take that as an alternate version. I mean, it doesn't diminish John Carpenter's original classic. And I shot that video several years ago at a convention in Louisville, the Fright Night Film Fest. They were very cool to let us shoot out there, much like the people at Heroes Con, so we appreciate that. So, I don't know. I mean, yeah, the story was told in part 1. You're absolutely right about that, Jeremy Horn 6244, but I'm okay with them doing the odd things. You know, I enjoyed and just got, you know, enjoyed the basic slasher fun of Halloween 4 and 5. I mean, I enjoyed that little series, and even part 6 is fun if you watch the producer cut. So there you go. I think there is, as long as they want to keep taking swings at it, might as well go for it. I mean, the original is always going to be there. I watch it every single Halloween, and you should too. And you know what makes a good precursor for it? A good lead-in, curtain jerker, if you will? Scarecrow at Midnight. Give it a try one year. You will enjoy it. And then actually follow it up with House of 1,000 Corpses. Okay, next we have the Ultra Creep Eat Broken Spectre sighting, which was a repost from a hiker. I reposted to the original poster, which was on another social media site, so I put it on YouTube. And the Beast SK Breva says, no, it's the Best SK Breva. Sorry, speaking of eyesight issues, he says eerie AF. Eerie AF. I think that means as. But I digress. Prince Namor of Atlantis splashes into the Amazing Spider-Man. We've got another comment from my buddy Options 3000. Another great episode. This Spidey run is in my ever-growing queue to read, now that I have them all in my Essentials collection. Namor is a great character, but just doesn't seem able to last in a solo series for too long for some reason. He goes on to say, I never did read the Byrne series. Well, you should remedy that. Read the first 25 issues at least. He does the art for, I think, like 22, 23, 24 issues of it, and then Jay Lee takes over, but Byrne continues the writing. And they even have, an interesting run with Jay Lee on the art that extends, I guess, into the low 30s or so. So Byrne continues his stories, but he wrote and drew, he did the actual cartooning for the first 20-something so issues. And to me, it's just another really fun Byrne series. Though it does have its moments where it kind of veers into, I don't know, there's something that happens when creators, when they try to find, just really kind of represent the modern time that they're in. Okay, in the 80s was kind of big hair, big shoulder pads, kind of everything's bigger, faster, stronger, more money mentality. And And in trying to modernize some of his superhero work too much, John Byrne moves too far away from the metaphor, in my opinion. Okay, so some of his stories are really good if you just take them as just straight sci-fi stories. There's no metaphor, no philosophical underpinnings other than what these characters actually represent psychologically. Got a little tongue twisted there. Sorry. Let me clear my throat. But anyway, so he gets too far away from that and gets into the literal, which is what hampers some of his storylines. Okay, that's why he can be wildly inconsistent. But when he just has fun with it, that's when the underlying metaphor really comes out, and the stories are just fun. And part of that Namor run is a lot of fun, so you should check it out, buddy. I actually did several videos on Namor, and there was zero interest in it. People have already accepted the new Aztec Namor or Namor, whatever his name is. It's not for me. So I would love to see the actual character of Namor show up in an adaptation, like say in a Fantastic Four story first, rather than the Black Panther. But what can you say? F Marvel and Disney. They have enough money, and they're just ruining these stories and properties at this point. But fortunately, we're in a golden age of creativity, so there are a lot of great stories out there created by a lot of talented individuals. Good stuff. Heavy Metal Magazine 1978-1979 unboxing. We got a comment from Cell718. Looks like a good deal, especially since the company's going to crap over the years. That was a good deal. So somebody was selling full runs of Heavy Metal Magazine 1978 and 1979. They were separate listings, and I messaged them and I'm like, hey, let me get both of these. And I worked out a deal and nabbed those, and it's absolutely fantastic. I want to fill in 1977 as well. That's like one of my ongoing quests as a collector. We have many quests that drive us as collectors over the years, where we will look for particular books and spend years doing it until we randomly come across a good deal, and then we go, hey, let me grab these now and throw these into my collection. But yeah, the company's going to crap over the years. They have not had a stellar word of mouth, Heavy Metal, over the past few years. Apparently their publishing has been slow. People are complaining of money spent and orders not filled. And creatively, nothing has really stood out, it seems, since the Grant Morrison run, which I'm really a big fan of, and I'm still filling in a few issues of that, but I have like the first part of it. So who knows what it would take to get it going. I mean, heavy metal is one of those things that I always love. I mean, even if there's not like an individual story in it that really blows me away, it's just the overall presentation and the tone and the mindset of just flipping through a heavy metal. It just takes me to a place where I'm like, okay, this is just creatively unbridled, unbound, like these random indie books, And that's what I like to see, instead of just endless repetitions of, oh, let's see who we can venomize this week. Now Aunt May is Venom. Okay, well, so on and so forth. It's all derivative and too many gimmicks and this and that. But anyway, that's why we try to focus on the positive here at Comic-Jutsu, because there's too many ways to just fall into talking about negativity. So let's focus on the positive, shall we? So thank you, Cell718. And on our X-Men Comics and God Loves, Man Kills on CBN News, that is another archival video that I just posted here to have on YouTube so people could watch it, and people have started to discover it. So we got a comment from Tyron Lung 5278. They clearly didn't read the book and absorb its messaging and understand the book, because it's an allegory on white supremacist extremists forcing religion on melanistic people to destroy their own kind. Professor X has psionic psychic powers, a part of his mutation, and was put into hallucinations by Stryker to bend him to kill mutant kind. And you know what, Tyron? You're 100% correct. That's the storyline. And also the underlying allegory, or one of the many ways that it can be taken. So I agree with you. There's nothing else to add to that. That's a really great comment. I love to see good comments like that. That's one of my favorite interactions of having a channel like this and interacting on social media, is that people will say something and you realize, you know what, there are smart people out there, like the denizens of the Comic Book Dojo, and that's why we're having this chat today. So again, a little reminder for those of you just now tuning in, send your questions to comicjutsu@gmail.com or post them anywhere you find us on social media. Okay, on our Al Feldstein interview, Tales from the Crypt EC Mad Tribute. Easterly art. If you ever get a chance, it may be worth adding closed captions to this video, since it's a little hard to hear Al. You know what? You're 100% correct. Easterly art. I turned on the captions for this video, so it helps a little bit, but I plan to go back and remaster that. I need to just pull the audio straight from the original video source. This, of course, I still have it. This was a video that I shot at Heroes Con, many years ago. Of course, Al Feldstein has sadly left us at this point. But you're right, it is hard to hear. And at the time I had I think it was an omnidirectional mic. No, I had the directional one. It was just, I should have had another mic plugged into it that I could have set in front of him. And at the time I just didn't. I mean, I shot that at a point where I wasn't set up to do like all this podcasting recording on the run, because it was really at the dawn, the proto days of podcasting, and all the mobile equipment wasn't quite easily accessible. So did the best I could, but I plan to remaster it. I'll pull that audio, clean it up, bring his levels up some, see if I could push the crowd down a little bit, and make that a little bit easier to hear for you. So thanks for the comment, I appreciate it. Okay, another comment on X-Men comics and God Love Man Kills from Trevon Lewis 8134. I'm a black Christian, but these 80s Reagan era evangelicals were some of the biggest frauds, and the crazy things haven't really changed. And the crazy things haven't really changed. I think you just forgot to delete the word there. And the crazy things haven't really changed. You summed it up. That is a very good comment there, Trevon Lewis. Crazy things have not changed. They are still out there. And if you're ever stuck for a good supervillain idea, if you're out there working on your comic book or your short film or your feature film script or what have you, or your animation, who knows, you can always just scan through whatever the evangelicals are doing and their big, super churches and all that stuff, and those guys are great villains for you. Put not Caesar before God, right? Okay. On our Clive Barker, Write for the Most Intelligent People You Know, advice for writers, Pauline 581. Wow, great advice and no pretensions. She's commenting on Clive Barker's comments in the video. Becoming a better and smarter writer by writing for the most intelligent people you know. Repeating what he says. Never looked at it that way. Thank you. There is a difference, isn't there? There absolutely is, Pauline. Never compromise yourself. Just write for yourself. Write to entertain the smartest people you know. That's how Clive Barker put it. Again, that's another video I shot at a convention many years ago. Another comment from our X-Men Comics and God Loves Man Kills video. Comic Source, this is how news are made today as well, with agenda on the lips, self-righteousness in the eyes, and shit on the nose. The line about Stryker is so nicely put, like he is dead. They don't tell that, but they do imply it by stating the opposite about the mutants. Though he isn't in the book, and the point is like 75% of what this book is about. And the crucifixion is well put also, like it really took place in a book and wasn't a mental torture via computer program by a mad zealot who killed his child and wife with bare hands. But the best part is all these dudes being strikers in a flesh, naming mutants subhumans more than once, and the reporters do so as well in the beginning. Holy shit, this is so meta brilliant, I can't believe it. The best thing I saw this year so far. He actually goes on with a whole nother long paragraph. Just go through the video and read it, but that's a really fun comment as well. And it's what I don't really have much of a rebuttal to. I'm just like, yeah, I mean, I enjoy seeing all these comments and interpretations. So just let you know what a great underrated work that God Loves Man Kills is. Okay, another comment on our Clive Barker Write for the Most Intelligent People You Know Advice for Writers video, tab 8803. Wow, what incredible quality. Okay, tab, I think that was supposed to be a smart-ass dig. Try not to be a humanoid in the comments, okay, dude? You have to realize this video, you're lucky this video even exists, okay? I had to pay out the ass to go to this convention all the way in Cincinnati. I was there for the premiere of the director's cut of Nightbreed. You know, it was the first time, the first weekend, the first public screening. Clive Barker was there. All the actors were there. It was a phenomenal event. I paid extra so I would have seats right at the front. Number 2 or 3, depending on where those other numbers lie. We weren't supposed to film anything, but I was like, screw it. I paid all this money. I'm going to film this. To me, this is a historic event. There was actual professional filming going on, and footage from the event was supposed to have been used in some documentaries. So I sat on this footage for years out of just respect to the promoters and, you know, whatever work was being created for it. And I didn't release this video until I created Comic-Jutsu, and it's been over a decade. So I gave them enough time to do whatever they wanted with the footage. Then I said, you know what, I'm going to use my footage. And I didn't have a good monopod at the time. Again, this was early in the podcasting, so people make humanoid comments and about stuff. And believe me, it's probably better than anything you were doing 10 years ago. Though, mind you, I'm sure the people that are just dedicated to just doing that stuff create incredible content nowadays, but sorry it's raw in the long run, okay? But it wouldn't exist otherwise. So there you go. Okay, on our heavy metal Metalverse ad, where I reposted the heavy metal Metalverse trailer, we got a question from Rayman. So what does this mean? A new movie? Netflix, what is this? You should just concentrate on an animated Tarna movie. Do it in the old animation style. And I absolutely agree with that, Rayman. I would love to see another Tarna movie. There was even a Tarna limited series. So I mean, the story continues. Unlike John Carpenter's Halloween, I mean, there's plenty of story seeds out there for a potential Tarna movie. I would love to see that. Okay, and another comment on the Clive Barker Write for the Most Intelligent People You Know Advice for Writers video. Saints Flot 599. What happened with his voice? Okay, so if you watch that video, you notice his voice is really raspy and he's really straining. And he was like that the whole weekend. I mean, it was almost like he had laryngitis. It was never explained. I really haven't even looked into it that much. It's just that I know Clive's health has taken a real downturn over past the probably 15 years maybe or so. I mean, physically he looks good. I mean, because the guy used to work out like a savage, unlike me in my retired dotage here. But he's got some internal things going on, so he was actually strained all weekend. It's another thing. I mean, even the quality of the audio here, we're lucky this video exists, because I mean, the way he was talking, I mean, you could barely hear him. I'm so glad I was right there, and I was in the second row. I tried to get in the front row, but people had beaten me to it. But anyway, I really enjoyed that weekend. I spent the whole weekend talking to Clive. I had several pieces signed, and he let me get a photo with him and stuff. And when I got the the photos signed, he he let me talk to him. He let people come and sit by them, which was really strange. You never see this, I guess, now in the post-COVID era. But and you could come and sit by him and talk to him. Actually, that was for the photo. So he said if you wanted a photo, you could come and sit for the photo. So what happened was, I had my photo that I wanted autographed, okay, but none of my friends wanted to wait in line, but they all wanted something autographed. So I wound up having like several that I had done. So I got mine signed first, and I talked to Clive. He says, well, come have a seat. We'll have the picture. So they took the picture, and then I just stayed there while he signed the other pieces, and he and I talked, for a few minutes. But to me, it seemed like we just spent the whole evening together talking about storytelling or whatever. And I just launched into it. Whenever I'm, it's like, that's how I am. When I go to these things, I don't F around. I'm not always, I try not to fanboy out. That happens sometimes. Where I love your work. Oh, it inspired me so much. Oh, when I was a kid in kindergarten, I got beat up after school and I watched this and it made me so happy. I try not to dive into just pure fanboyism. And I try to get to the heart of the matter. Like, okay, I have access to this great creator, this great mind, all of this wealth of experience. What can I ask them right now? And I just launched into questions about horror and metaphor, and subtext, and all of these things. And in the space of a few minutes, we had a great conversation, and it was really moving and inspirational moment for me. And these videos are part of my sharing that with you. Okay, and we've got one more question or one more response from the social medias, where Eldritch Fogg responded, I like this dude a lot. He knows his martial arts and comics, points out what is on point and what is BS, but all in all takes it for what it is. So thank you, Eldritch Fogg. I appreciate that. You are the first person to comment on the Comic Book Dojo series, where we break down the martial arts and the fighting scenes of the books and the characters involved. And thank you. I'll take that as a positive, because otherwise I was starting to lose hope on the whole series, even though that's the total gimmick, the raison d'etre of this channel. It's to break down these fight scenes. But that alone gives me the excuse to talk about comic books. So there you go. That's our Monday morning mailbag. Thank you for watching, denizens. Again, send your questions to Comic-Jutsu, all one word, at gmail.com. Or you can find me on Twitter, the social medias, Instagram, Pinterest, Threads now even. So wherever there's social media, so too is Comic-Jutsu. We are like the Tao. Mate! That means stop, by the way, in Japanese. See you next time.